Alright, so this is our Nissan Murano that we purchased from BYRIDER about 3 years ago. We have 2 more years to pay on it. Well, this thing, since pretty much the moment we drove it off the lot, has been having lots of issues and problems. Check engine codes. Anyways, a couple months ago, the pressure or the oil line for the transmission that goes up to the radiator to cool the oil ruptured. And when we fixed it, there was twist ties there. They use zip ties actually to hold the connection together. So it failed at that point and caused the transmission to, I don't know, run low on oil or without it. Anyways, it damaged it. The car doesn't exactly work the same anymore. Okay. So the other night I'm at Lowe's buying some parts for my boat, and the car breaks down on me, wouldn't start. I had to tow it home, and I bought starter for it to replace it. I took off this wheel right here, and as you're going to see here in a moment when I get the wheel off, the hole up underneath of it is full of salvage yard paint marks, which means that pretty much this whole side right here has been replaced at some time. Which leads me into my next point. When we bought this car, we were talking to the salesman. We were outside looking at the car and looking at one right beside it, and he told us, I asked him, I'm like, I want to see the Carfax on this car, and he's like, yeah, I'll get it for you when we get back in. And he also again claimed that the Carfax was clean at that point. The witness to this was the co-buyer of the car, my girlfriend. So anyways, we were there. We arrived very early in the day, and it was almost like 9 o'clock at night before we signed the papers, got out. Our minds were numb. We were up past our bedtime. We just wanted to go home. We still had like an hour-and-a-half drive to get back home from Columbus, Ohio, from buying the car. So we just, we made a mistake. We signed papers just to get through it. At that point, I still didn't see the Carfax. They did indeed give us the Carfax. I found it like 2 or 3 days ago, hidden in the middle of all the power of attorneys and the paperwork, and showing an accident in New York City. So I'm guessing that everything I'm about to show you on this video is a result of that accident. And then after that, we're going to go look at the car's real value and see how much I overpaid them and how much they scammed us for. All right. First thing I've done is remove this. It was held on by zip ties. This is the access panel to get to the starter up there. But our main point of concern here is this, the motor mount. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there is a pink dot right there. That pink dot is a salvage yard mark. And look how bent this thing is. This thing has been in a serious accident. The top part of this bracket came from a salvage yard. The bottom part of this bracket is original to the car. And you can see how bent it is right here in this area. It's bent down. It's bent so bad that this piece right here, I can stick my finger in there. That should rest right on that bushing. And is one of the reasons why the car most likely runs rough. Okay. Alright, so now you see, ooh, here's another right here. You can see down there, there's another salvage yard paint mark. So they just bolted that bottom bent bracket and didn't even bother rebending it out. And this is a salvage yard part. I thought that they had actually cut the frame, but they didn't. This is also a salvage yard part. I'm going to stick this little guy back up here. Let's look up here at the strut. Do we see the salvage yard marks, folks? Right here on the brake line. Here's some more paint. More salvage yard parts. You look down there on the caliper, more paint. We look back here on the tranny. You see a white dot back there. That's some paint. Look back here onto the axle. You see a blue paint mark. Okay. This part here is brand new, or at least just a couple of years old. It's not as old as the car at all, right? So also right back in here in this area, there is the line for the transmission to cool the oil at the radiator, which had zip ties around it instead of hose clamps. So obviously that was a botched job. You know, pretty incompetent. When they should have used hose clamps, they used zip ties. For no reason. So let's go look up underneath the hood of the car. Camera run out of battery on me. Alright, so here we're looking up underneath the top of the car. There is, and this is something I didn't notice because when I actually got to look under the hood of the car, it was dark by the time they would pop the hood on there for me and let me look at it. It's missing this piece right here. It's part of the air cleaner to bring in cooler air. Instead, it's pulling in hot air from right off the engine. Okay. There is a junkyard paint mark. Down here is a yellow junkyard paint mark. Right here is a purple junkyard paint mark. And underneath the battery here, there are several more paint marks. I had to tear the battery out to get down to the starter to replace the starter. It's a brand new starter on it. So there you have it. Okay, so here's the Carfax report that I just found hidden dead in the center of my paperwork and all the power of attorneys. They never showed us this report when we bought the car, nor did they tell us about the damage, even though we asked for it in the beginning. So, right here is the accident. The date it happened. It was in New York. Accident with another vehicle. I would show you the VIN number, but I got that scribbled out. This is what my vehicle is worth right now. $3,845. And that's a fair condition Nissan Murano. Which, is it in fair condition? I guess it all depends on who you ask. If you ask a mechanic, no, it probably wouldn't be in good condition. If you ask a layman who doesn't know crap about cars, they're going to say it's in excellent condition. But private party range is $3,800 for this damn car. I have paid so far $13,000 on it. I gave up a $4,000 Honda Civic Si with absolutely nothing wrong with it, and $1,000 cash on top of that. Guys, right here, this is my balance. This is what I still owe on this car. I've been buying this car for about 3 years now, and I still owe $8,000 on it, nearly. And, you know, just to find out that the car at this point in time is only worth less than half of that right now, I'm really not happy.